that good, and no performer is that great, and no words are that powerful. Let me tell you something. If you took away the 13th Amendment, you abolished the amendment that abolished slavery, then Kanye wouldn't have the wife he has right now. He wouldn't have the platform he has right now. He'd be serving tea, because that's what it did. And don't tell me it's to release us from physical, from emotional or mental bondage. You never needed the government to release you from mental bondage. You can do that yourself. It's the physical bondage. He keeps doing this thing where he minimizes slavery and puts an asterisk on it without understanding what he's saying. And then he has another, well, what I meant was, keep your mouth off slavery. There's some things you cannot say. You cannot equate anything to the Holocaust. You get run out because no one listens to you. Slavery was a blight on this country that we will never recover from, and you keep making light of it for whatever dumbass project you got coming out. I respect what you have done, but when you disrespect the millions and millions of people who died and the stigma that we still have to deal with, and when you give comfort to people who a huge percentage of Trump's supporters want slavery back now. And you keep talking about we're going to open factories up. Factories will open. I submit to you this, that before we had before slavery was abolished, 90%, about 95% of black people worked. We had an unemployment rate. Everybody worked. That didn't mean that we weren't brutalized. That didn't mean that we weren't dehumanized. Stop putting your mouth on slavery when you don't know what you're talking about. It was a horrible moment in America's history that we still cannot recover from. We still can't get over it. We have monuments named to it, schools, bridges. Every time you turn around, something happens and remind us of how far we got to go. We don't need the dude who produced High School Dropout to make it worse. You and Donald Trump you like him so much because you're the exact same people. You're demagogues. You black people to you are backdrops. They're little more than figurines that you use. Let's be clear about Donald Trump. You want a 13th Amendment to abolish slavery? Let's be clear. The new slavery is in prison. Private prisons have never been more profitable than they are under Donald Trump. Never. That's the new prison. Never been more profitable. Now, let me ask you something. If prisons have never been more profitable, in other words, Donald Trump is to private prisons what Kaepernick was to Nike. Good for business. And you're good for business. What you do is give comfort to people who are questioning what he's saying. You go, well, if Kanye says it, it's all right. Donald Trump says you're leading us. If anything, you're leading us back to a time when people could own you. There is no way to take the 13th Amendment away and say that you were trying to say something good. You don't need permission from the government to be a free thinker. You don't need permission from the government to free your mind. You needed permission from the government to be a human being. And I'll be damned if I'm going to take advice from a dude who had liposuction and is on antidepressants. Listen, you got a lot of voices in your head. One of them should tell you to shut up. That's a little note from the GED section. We got a jet report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.
Well, you guys, what do you think about that? I couldn't have said it better. You know, he's a jackass. And I'm going to tell you, Chance the Rapper, we're going to find out what he thinks about him, too. I will cut ties with a person like that. That's a person who see, Donald Trump uses, like he did Omarosa, black people, or he may have used Steve Harvey to get what he wants. Because we're not budging. This is WTPS. We just want to bring you that segment. And keep us this sound on DJ Twinkle Toes. We play nothing but the hits. Wow. I have to say that's well said, Well said.